Karen was already on the brink of death. When he was kicked, he felt as though his internal organs had split apart. A few moments ago, he still had hopes that he could save his own life, but his hopes vanished without a trace at this moment. His eyes were bloodshot as he said, "Who are you? You vermin who strikes a man when he's down." The peculiarly dressed man scratched his head. Yu Shangrong's image surfaced in his mind. He cleared his throat and said nonchalantly, "My apologies." "Huh? I'm Yu Shangrong." Karen's mind turned blank. Was he hallucinating after being stabbed by a sword? The person he had fought earlier had said he was Yu Shangrong. How could there be another Yu Shangrong? He coughed violently as he thought to himself, "Illusion, this is an illusion." Karen closed his eyes to stabilize his breathing. He rubbed his eyes and opened them again. Sword? Sword devil? The peculiarly dressed man nodded lightly and said, "It's only a title. It's too insignificant to mention." "Fight me fairly if you dare," Karen said, seething with anger. "I'm sorry. I'm the kind of person who likes to seize the opportunity when my opponent is down." The strange man raised his hand. A hook-like weapon appeared in his hand. "You shameless."
Ah!
The separation hook slashed across Karen's neck. Then, a few energy seals landed on his chest. A moment later, Ming Shirin raised his palms, raining down a barrage of blows on Karen before he finally nodded in satisfaction. "Second senior brother, you truly know too little about the other tribes. I'm better suited to deal with these other tribesmen." He stretched his limbs and looked at the sun in the sky. "How nice. It's still early. I'll go to the Big Dipper Academy and get myself some leaf-sprouting pills." Inside the eastern pavilion of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 1,000 merit points. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 1,000 merit points. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. When Lu Zhou heard these notifications, he opened his eyes, temporarily pulled out of his meditative state. Yu Shangrong? With Yu Shangrong's current 3-leaf cultivation base, it should be slightly difficult for him to kill a grand cultivator. Ming Shirin must have helped him. It's good that they're helping each other out. Lu Zhou closed his eyes and continued to meditate. The next morning, Yu Shangrong had already returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion. He did not delay and made his way to the Eastern Pavilion. He said with a bow, "I am honored that I didn't let you down, Master. I've brought back 223 survival pills." "Good." Lu Zhou asked, "Did everything go smoothly?" "Everything went smoothly. There were no troubles," Yu Shangrong replied. There was a moment of silence before Lu Zhou said, "You never used to lie." Yu Shangrong was taken aback. Then, he bowed and said, "I've made a mistake. I did run into 3 individuals on my way back. They're petty thieves and aren't worthy of mentioning. It's good to see that you've returned." "Rest well," Lu Zhou said. Yu Shangrong was about to turn around and leave when he recalled Wuya's words. "I have a request, Master." "Let's hear it." "I'd like to read 7th Junior Brother's diary." "Diary?" Lu Zhou opened his eyes and looked at the table next to him. He waved his hand. An energy picked the diary up and brought it out of the room. Bam. The door closed. Yu Shangrong caught the diary. He bowed and said, "I'll take my leave." Ding. Yu Shangrong accomplished the survival pill mission. Reward, 10,000 merit points. Lu Zhou closed his eyes and continued to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. He did not leave the Eastern Pavilion over the next 4 days. On the 5th morning, Lu Zhou sensed that his extraordinary power was completely replenished. His mental state and bodily functions were much better than before. "My cultivation base seems to have improved as well," Lu Zhou mumbled to himself. "It seems like making breakthroughs at quite a rapid pace." In that case, he should save his merit points to purchase the golden lotus leaf. If he could save his merit points and use them when things get difficult in the later stages, he should be able to rank up quicker. Zhou stretched his body before he opened the door and went out. Little Yuan was hopping about as she practiced with her Nirvana sash. When she saw Zhou, she said, "Master. 7th senior brother left for Qing province yesterday. He saw that you were resting and told me to convey the message to you." "I see." Zhou descended the steps with his hands on his back. With Wuya's cultivation base, it would be difficult for him to drag Zhenghai back here. The reason Zhou had sent him on the mission was partly due to him being able to easily meet Zhenghai. Even if he could not bring Zhenghai back here by force, at the very least, he could be of help to Zhenghai in confronting the imperial family. When Zhou recalled Wuya's words, he sighed. Indeed, that rascal had it rough. Before he could retrieve his memory crystal, he would not be so bold as to confirm whether Ji Tiandao did try to kill Zhenghai or not. "I'm a reasonable person, after all." Then, he looked at little Yuan and asked, "Yuan, how's your cultivation coming along recently?" Little Yuan appeared aggrieved as she replied, "Master, it's so difficult to sprout leaves. I can't seem to make the third one appear." "The third leaf? Since when did you sprout a second leaf?" Zhou remembered that the little girl had just recently sprouted her first leaf. Most cultivators would experience a drop in their cultivating speed once they entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm. However, this little girl was progressing more and more quickly. It was almost illogical. Little Yuan scratched her head. "I think it was half a month ago. I can't really remember." "Half a month ago?" Zhou was at loss for words. Was she not asking for the moon, thinking she could sprout the third leaf overnight? "I'm going out. You stay here and cultivate well." "Master, I want to go with you," little Yuan said excitedly. Zhou scowled as he reprimanded her, "Don't make me repeat my words." "Oh." Zhou waved his sleeve and headed to the back of the mountain. Little Yuan felt aggrieved as she looked at her master's retreating back. Previously, her master would bring her everywhere he went. Now, he was leaving her behind. How could she not feel wronged? She muttered to herself, "Master must think my cultivation base is too weak. Otherwise, why would he ask about my cultivation base?" At the back of the mountain, Zhou flipped his palm. An appearance alteration card appeared in his hand. In the past, Zhou did not have much means to protect himself. He had to bring little Yuan with him everywhere he went. However, it was different now. He was already a nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator. He also had the heavenly writing powers and his item cards. He would have no problems defending himself. If he brought little Yuan along, it would be easier for someone else to see through his disguise. In the cultivation world, only those in the nascent divinity tribulation realm were considered as properly initiated. Only nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivators could unleash grand techniques. There was no concrete definition of a grand technique. Most cultivators used it as an umbrella term for the mightiest techniques of the Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist societies. For example, the Sword Devil's Destiny of the Sword Path and the Dark Heaven Starlight of the Saber Path. The second reason was only nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivators could form a golden lotus and sprout leaves. Since he was now in the nascent divinity tribulation realm, he was no longer a weakling. Qing province? Zhou looked in the direction of Qing province. "I'd like to see what this rascal is up to." With the appearance alteration card, it would be much easier to catch the rascal, Zhenghai. Even if he were to leave the evil sky pavilion, nobody would question him. Shangrong and the others could look after Golden Court Mountain. The barrier had been restored, it was now an impregnable fortress. Wizard. With the command, Wizard came on the clouds. Zhou leaped onto the beast's back and flew out the back of the mountain. Zhou shattered the appearance alteration card when he was up in the skies. A faint energy swirled around him. A unique sensation made his senses tingle. He did not know what appearance he had now, so he landed near a lake near the back of the mountain. Then, he peered into the lake to look at his reflection on its surface. He saw another old man looking back at him. This old man seemed more spirited. Half of his hair was black, and his facial features were sharper. He was pleased with what he saw. Zhou did not stay for long. He mounted Wizard and made his way to Qing province. 2 days later, in the heaven room on the second floor of Clouds in Jing province city. Zhou looked at the city through the window. He instinctively stroked his beard as he fell deep in his thoughts. When he reached for his beard, he noticed it was much shorter than it used to be. Well, he had not gotten used to his new appearance. Zhou had arrived in the city the day before. He was surprised to find that the Nether Sect had yet to extend its reach to Jing province city. The citizens did not seem to be affected as well. The Nether Sect was no fool. They had promised early on that they would not lay a hand on the civilians. After all, they wanted to achieve world dominion. The civilians were the roots of the world, not their enemies. Their enemies were Great Yan's imperial family and the opposing factions. Jing province was located in the area innermost of Great Yan. It was not a place that remote places like Liang province could compare to. Alas, Zhou had not seen Zhenghai. Thud. 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 As he entertained his thoughts, a knock rang from outside. Who's there? Zhou turned around slowly as he sighed. Perhaps, he had gotten accustomed to the character of an eccentric old man in this world. He was not Jitian Dao and not the original Zhou, but a new character. Without waiting for a reply, he said, "Come in." A waiter entered the room after closing the door. He said tentatively, "Dear customer, I have information regarding the matter you asked me about. The great general guarding Jing province city is one of the divine capital's 8 great generals. He's General Wen Shu, commander of the Southwest and a Confucian Society elite. The formation of Jing province city was laid by the Confucian Society. What's the Nether Sect up to now?" Zhou asked. "You don't have to worry about that. It's said that even the sect master of the Nether Sect can only look at the city even if he were here. Jing province city is as secure as a city protected by a wall of metal and a moat of boiling water," the waiter replied. "You're very confident with Jing province city's security?" "I'm not the only one. Everyone feels the same way. The people of Jing province city aren't affected at all," the waiter said with a smile. "Dear customer, since you're asking about this, you can't be." He wanted to say the word spy, but he quickly swallowed the word when he saw the killing intent brewing in the depths of Zhou's eyes. "Please rest well." He shuddered and quickly retreated from the room in fright. Zhou turned around to face the window. As he expected, the Nether Sect was much weaker without Wuya. It could not even conquer Jing province city. At dusk, in a certain Nether Sect's branch, a flag that was raised in the center of the campground danced in the wind. Zhenghai was cultivating with his eyes closed as he sat on his throne. A cloud of mist was swirling before him. All of a sudden, he flipped his hand. The jasper saber appeared out of thin air above his palm. His forehead was drenched in sweat as his eyes suddenly snapped open. He raised his sleeve to wipe the sweat off his forehead as he murmured, "Master, please don't make me. It's just a dream." At this moment, Hua Chongyang walked in excitedly. "Sect Master. What is it?" "Mr. Seventh is back." Upon hearing this, Zhenghai rose to his feet immediately. A strange light gleamed in his eyes as he said, "Hurry, where is her?" Zhenghai's voice had barely faded when Wuya sauntered into the hall. He wore a long Confucian scholar robe and held the peacock plume in his hand. His expression was calm, but his eyes were lively. After he walked to the center of the hall, he cupped his fists and said, "We meet again, eldest senior brother." Zhenghai hastened down the steps, visibly excited. He walked up to Wuya, at a loss for words. The exhaustion that had plagued him lately seemed to have vanished at this moment. Finally, he raised his hands and placed them on Wuya's shoulders as he said excitedly, "My dear brother, how I miss you so." Zhenghai's expression was rather telling even though they could understand his feelings. Hua Chongyang had spent a fair portion of his time listening to Zhenghai's ramblings. The phrases he often heard were, "This would have turned out much better if junior brother did it, if only junior brother were here," and the likes. The four great protectors had a headache from all the ramblings. How could Hua Chongyang not be delighted about Si Wuya's return as well? Si Wuya endured the pain on his shoulders and said, "Eldest senior brother, let's not celebrate just yet. Master sent me here." Upon hearing this, Zhenghai instinctively took a step back. He frowned. "Master?" Si Wuya said, "Master is already at the 9-leaf stage." Zhenghai waved his hand and said, "If you're trying to persuade me, you can save your breath." "That's not what I mean." "Then what do you mean?" Zhenghai's tone grew stern and grim. "Master's growing senile, have you grown senile as well? The one I'm opposing has always been Great Yan's imperial family and never the evil Sky Pavilion." "I know," Si Wuya responded calmly. "Then, why are you helping Master?" Zhenghai questioned. The entire Great Hall was as silent as a graveyard. Si Wuya only stared at Zhenghai silently, waiting for Zhenghai's anger to abate. It was just as Si Wuya had expected. After a while, Zhenghai gradually calmed down. Finally, Si Wuya said, "Master isn't senile." An expression of confusion appeared on Zhenghai's face. Si Wuya said, "Perhaps, we're both wrong." He paused before continuing, "Master has ordered me to come here and bring you back to the evil Sky Pavilion. However, Master knows that, with my cultivation base, it's impossible for me to make you do anything you refuse to. Knowing that, why did he still send me here? Master wants to go against Great Yan as well?" Zhenghai asked. Si Wuya did not respond directly. Instead, he said, "Master left the choice to me, and think that I've made up my mind a long time ago." Zhenghai appeared stunned, unable to understand Si Wuya's words. Si Wuya shook his head and changed the topic. "Why aren't you severing your golden lotus and attempting to attain the 9-leaf stage, eldest senior brother?" Zhenghai said disapprovingly, "Severing my lotus means that I'll have to cultivate from the beginning again. What I aim to do is to take over the world while everyone severs their lotuses." Si Wuya nodded. "In that case, the sooner the better." Upon hearing this, something stirred in Zhenghai's heart. He appeared overjoyed as he waved his hand and said, "Hua Chongyang, quickly bring the map over." "Yes, Sect Master." Shortly after, Hua Chongyang placed the map of Jing Province City on the big table. He briefed Si Wuya in detail about the current situation in Jing Province City as well. Zhenghai pointed at the area around Jing Province City and said, "The person guarding Jing Province City is Wen Shu, one of the 8 commanders of the Divine Capital. This man is from the Confucian societies. He's skilled in formations, and that's giving me a headache." At the side, Hua Chongyang cupped his fists and said, "If it weren't for this formation, Sect Master could have taken down Wen Shu on his own. Jing Province would have fallen a long time ago. My wise brother. Do you have any good plans? Do you have any of your men planted around Wen Shu?" Zhenghai looked at Si Wuya expectantly as though he was looking at a beautiful lady. Goosebumps rose on Si Wuya's skin from being stared at so intently. He felt helpless about the change in the way his eldest senior brother addressed him as well. He shook his head and said, "The 8 commanders aren't your run-of-the-mill officials. The people around them can't be taken down that easily. Besides, we've used this tactic in Liang Province before. We can't use it again." Zhenghai sighed in disappointment. Si Wuya said, "But I do have another idea. My wise brother. Tell me, quick." Zhenghai kept addressing him as his wise brother. It felt like he no longer cared about appearing imposing. Jing Province's geography is treacherous, it's also a place where wild beasts are gathered. There are many mountains and forests around it. We can use the beasts to whittle away at the formation, Si Wuya said. Zhenghai frowned and said, "I'm not the king of beasts, how am I supposed to order them around?" Si Wuya said, "What a coincidence. In the 3 days' time, north of Jing province, there will be a live sacrifice on the heaven worship platform. A live sacrifice? It's only a mindless act of sacrificing a person to the heavens. That's unimportant. What's important is the sacrificial person is born with the innate ability to understand the tongue of beasts. He's a person gifted in tune.